You have learned that when our application starts, Spring creates our beans and stores them in the application context, which is the IOC container in Spring. Now here's a question. Are beans created once and reused, or are they created every time we need them? That depends on the bean scope. The scope of a bean determines how and when it's created and how long it lives in the Spring IOC container. In Spring, we have a few different scopes. The first one is singleton, which is the default. And with this, only one instance of the bean is created per container. To see this in action, I'm going to duplicate this line. So now we have two order service objects. I'm going to call the second one order service 2. Now let's run the application. Look, we have a single instance of the order service. This is the singleton scope. This is the default scope, and it's useful for stateless, reusable components like services. Then we have the prototype scope. And with this, a new instance of the bean is created every time it's requested from the IOC container. This is useful for components that hold state or are used temporarily. Now, to change the scope of a bean, we go to our app config class. This is where we create the order service bean. We apply another annotation called scope. And as an argument, we specify the scope to be applied on this bean. Here we have prototype, application, request, session, and so on. I'm going to select prototype. Now, if we're configuring this bean using annotations and not inside the app config class, we should apply this annotation to the order service class itself, okay? Now that we have changed the scope to prototype, if we run the application, we get two separate instances of order service, okay? We have another scope called request, and with this, a new bean instance is created for each HTTP request. So the bean exists only for the duration of the HTTP request and is destroyed once the request is completed. This is useful for storing request-specific data in web applications. We have another similar scope, that's the session scope, and with this, a new bean instance is created for each HTTP session. So the bean exists for the duration of the user session and is destroyed when the session ends.